our hearts beat.
We all know the feeling, don't we? Dreaming of a hot tub. That perfect little oasis right in your own backyard, a spot to just melt away the day. But, for a lot of us, that dream bumps up against, well, reality. You think about tricky installations, big price tags, maybe even permanent changes to the garden. It can feel a bit out of reach, but what if that's not the whole story anymore? Today we're doing a deep dive into a product that claims to give you that spa luxury, but without all those usual headaches. We're talking about the Wave Atlantic 6-person inflatable hot tub, specifically the EnergySave Bundle in that gray rattan finish. So our mission today is pretty simple, really. We're not just going to read off a spec sheet, no. We're digging into everything, the features, the tech, but also, crucially, what real people are saying. After using it for months, maybe even years, we want to cut through the noise, give you the real picture so you can figure out if this thing is actually the right fit for you. Ready to unpack this? Okay, so let's start big picture. What is the Wave Atlantic, fundamentally? What's it promising?
Right. Well, at its core, the Wave Atlantic is really positioned as accessible luxury. It's a round inflatable hot tub designed for up to 6 people. The whole idea is bringing that sort of high-end spa experience home, but without the permanence, or the big upfront cost. And aesthetically, yeah, it's got that sleek, modern gray rattan look, but really it's what's under the hood, so to speak, that's interesting. This model, the EnergySave one, it packs in quite a bit. There's an advanced integrated eco heater, which is key. Then you've got a 130 Aquajet Massage System, and this is a big one, anti-freeze protection. That points towards using it all year round.
Okay, eco heater, anti-freeze, loads of jets.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a lot for something inflatable. How does that actually translate into convenience for someone buying it?
Yeah, that's exactly where it gets really appealing, especially for, say, the DIY type or anyone just wary of big garden projects. The setup claim is, well, pretty bold. Just 15 minutes, and crucially, no professional installation needed.
15 minutes?
That's the claim. You literally just inflate it, fill it with water, and plug it in. And that simplicity, combined with what seems like pretty robust materials, makes it super versatile. It's great if you're conscious about space, fits in smaller gardens, patios, maybe even indoors if you've got the right setup, like a proper drainage. It kind of democratizes the whole hot tub thing, Makes it flexible, portable.
Okay, 15 minutes still sounds almost too easy. We'll circle back to that. But let's get into those specifics now. That energy saving bundle you mentioned, energy efficiency is huge right now. But, are we talking real savings here? Or is it just a bit of marketing?
That's a really good question. Because running costs, they're a major factor for any hot tub. And this complete energy-saving spa bundle, it seems genuinely designed to tackle that head-on. It's not just a name, it includes 3 main things, the tub itself, obviously, but also a thermal cover and an insulated foam mat.
Okay, so how do those bits work? The cover and the mat.
Well, the thermal cover isn't just like a basic lid. It's designed to create a really tight seal. It traps the heat in the water, significantly cutting down on heat loss when you're not using it.
Ah, like a thermos lid.
Exactly. A high-performance thermos for your spa water. So the heater just doesn't have to kick in as often or work as hard. That directly hits your energy bill. Then there's the insulated foam mat that goes underneath the whole tub. It acts as a barrier, stopping heat escaping downwards into the cold ground.
Right, because heat goes down too.
Precisely. Without that, you're just constantly losing warmth. So the mat keeps the water warmer for longer, again, reducing how much the heater needs to run. They really work together, the cover and the mat, to make the whole system more efficient.
That makes sense. Sounds like they've actually thought about those running costs.
Yeah.
Which, that stops a lot of people. Okay, what about the experience, the hydrotherapy? 130 jets, what kind of massage are we talking? Gentle bubbles or?
It seems to be more than just light fizzing. The 130 Aquajets, they're air jets, placed strategically around the tub. They're designed to give you a pretty consistent, quite vigorous hydrotherapy feel. It's not like some basic tubs with just a couple of outlets. These aim for a sort of all-around gentle but powerful bubbling action. The idea is it genuinely helps, melt away stress, soothe sore muscles, turns a warm soak into something more active, more therapeutic.
And rapid heating. That's another claim they make. What's that mean in the real world? How fast can you actually get it warm from cold?
Yeah.
And does it stay warm?
So it has a 104-degree aft rapid heating system. That's about 40 Celsius. It means it should get up to temperature relatively quickly. Now, the exact time always depends on things like, how cold the air is, how cold the water is when you start. But user feedback generally suggests it's pretty efficient.
And that links back to the energy saving stuff.
Absolutely. Because it heats relatively fast, and then that insulation bundle helps keep the heat in, it just uses less energy overall. And what's really quite clever is the anti-freeze protection. It's not just a timer. It actually monitors the water temp. If it risks freezing in cold weather, the heater automatically kicks in just enough to prevent damage.
Okay. So you really can use it in winter without worrying.
That's the idea. It makes it genuinely year-round, which isn't something all inflatable tubs can really handle reliably. It maximizes your investment.
Okay, durability.
Yeah.
That's always the big question with anything inflatable, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've all had stuff that promises the world and then, poof, it deflates or cracks after a season. What's this tub actually made of? How does it hold up? Especially if it's meant for year-round outdoor use.
That's a critical point, yeah. And this is where the Wave Atlantic seems to really make a case for itself. It uses two main materials, UV-resistant PVC, and something called reinforced drop stitch material.
UV-resistant PVC, so it won't fade or get brittle in the sun.
Exactly, that's crucial. Cheaper inflatables can really degrade fast outdoors. This PVC is specifically designed to resist sun damage, keep its color, that gray rattan look, and stay pliable for longer, even if it's out there all year.
And the drop stitch thing? What's that?
Okay, drop stitch is pretty cool tech. Imagine thousands upon thousands of tiny, super strong threads running vertically inside the wall, connecting the inner and outer surfaces.
Okay.
When you inflate it, these threads pull tight. It makes a whole structure incredibly rigid and stable, almost like a solid wall, not like a bouncy castle wall,
Right, not saggy.
Exactly. It prevents that sagging, keeps the depth consistent, and gives it a really firm feel, even when people are moving around inside. It's a massive step up from older inflatable designs, and it's what gives it the strength to handle constant use and different weather. It really does seem built to withstand the elements.
So we're not talking about those flimsy pool noodle type hot tubs anymore. That's actually really good news. Nobody wants their backyard retreat turning into a sad, deflated heap after one summer.
Yeah.
It really makes you think differently about what's possible for, easy backyard relaxation. And speaking of easy, let's go back to that 15-minute setup claim. Is that honestly realistic for, the average person? Or are there sneaky extra steps?
It seems remarkably realistic based on what users say. The instructions are basically inflate, fill, plug in. That's it. There's no complex plumbing, no wiring needed. It's designed to be hassle-free. And that simplicity, combined with it being sturdy but still technically portable, really underlines its flexibility. You could, in theory, take it to a cabin for a weekend, move it to catch the sun in your garden, maybe even bring it inside if you have the right spot with drainage. For someone who just wants that instant spa feel without calling plumbers and electricians, it seems like a real winner. And what's really interesting now is seeing how all these technical details, these promises, actually stack up against what people who've bought it are saying. We've looked through a lot of customer reviews, and the general vibe, it's overwhelmingly positive.
Oh, yeah. How positive?
We're talking a 4.9 out of 5-star average. That's from over 1,100 ratings and more than 170 pretty detailed written reviews. So that sets a really strong baseline. Suggests most people are getting what they expected, or maybe even more.
Wow, 4.9 is impressive.
Yeah.
So let's break that down. What specifically are customers loving? That setup we just talked about, does it really live up to the hype in practice?
It really seems to. Ease of setup is mentioned again and again. People like Brian S., Michelle, they consistently say things like, very easy, quick to get running. Some specifically mentioned it took minutes, or that only one person needed to do it. That really backs up the manufacturer's claim. Richard T. said, easy to set up, it doesn't take that long to fill. So yeah, that inflate, fill, plug-in promise seems pretty solid for most users.
That's good to hear. What about the build quality? You mentioned those materials, the PVC, the drop stitch. Do people feel it's durable? Does it feel solid?
Consistently, yes. Brian S. specifically mentioned the tub is made of durable material, the cover also. He even noted it seemed well insulated. Marcia J., who had apparently owned other inflatable tubs before, said this one felt far better quality. And Mr. John R. used words like robust piece, saying you can feel the thickness and quality straight away. That drop stitch tech seems to be making a real difference in how sturdy it feels.
Okay, and the heating and keeping the heat in. That's crucial, right? For comfort and for the electricity bill.
Yeah, people seem really happy there too. Brian S. reported the heater maintains the temperature while only losing a couple of degrees after an hour of use, which, for an inflatable, is actually pretty good. Richard T. agreed it gets up to and holds temperature pretty well. And Ivan B. was interesting. He found it heated up faster than the instructions suggested, and he was really pleased about the running costs, saying it seemed cheap to run, and they haven't noticed any significant increase in electricity usage.
Wow. Okay. So that EnergySave bundle isn't just talk then.
It seems to be genuinely effective for users, yeah.
Great news if you're watching the pennies. Now, the jets, the massage part, do they actually deliver that soothing hydrotherapy, or are they just there?
People definitely seem to appreciate them. Brian S. described the aeration as pleasantly vigorous, relieving my aches and pains. That's exactly what you want, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And Marcy J. also felt the jets seemed to be more powerful than on other tubs she'd tried. So yeah, those 130 Aquajets seem to be doing their job and adding to the therapeutic experience.
And comfort, just sitting in it for a while. Is it actually comfy?
That gets positive mentions too. Marcia J. pointed out the cushion on the bottom, saying her old one didn't have that and she could really feel the difference. Makes sense. And Ivan B. highlighted the depth, saying it provides a good depth of water so you get a deep soak. That's important. You don't want to feel like you're just sort of perched in shallow water. You want to be properly immersed.
Good point. Okay, what about overall value? And if something does go wrong, customer service.
It scores really well on value. Michelle just called it great value. Desi thought it was a very good buy. Richard T. actually said he was a bit skeptical because of the low cost, but found it exceeded my expectations. A really positive story from Ivan B. about service. Apparently, his liner got a tear, and he said the company provided brilliant service and sent a new one promptly. That's reassuring to hear about post-purchase support.
Definitely. And for people tight on space.
Yeah.
You mentioned smaller gardens. Does it really work in those situations?
It seems so. Joanne H. actually titled her review, Great for Small Gardens. She confirmed it worked well in her compact space.
Okay.
She also added it's great for 2 people, but would fit 3 comfortably, which kind of reinforces that idea that it's good for smaller households or, cozy use.
Right.
So, yeah, seems ideal if you're space conscious. Okay, so, look, it's overwhelmingly positive, right? But for a proper deep dive, we have to look at the other side too. No product gets a perfect score across the board. We need balance.
Right. What were the criticisms? Even if they're minor.
Well, for example, customer service communication wasn't perfect for everyone. Julie L. mentioned emailing with a question and to date have received no reply.
Oh.
Although she did add that the spa itself did arrive when they stated it would. So the delivery was fine, just maybe the responsiveness to queries could sometimes be slow.
And didn't Julie L. also mention something about a filter? That sounds potentially more serious.
She did, yeah. She was a bit concerned that the filter only lasted 1 day. She was hoping it was just a one-off bad filter and was monitoring the new one. Now, this seems like a very isolated comment in a sea of positive reviews, but it's worth noting. Filter care is super important for any hot tub inflatable or not. You've got to clean them regularly, replace them when needed. It's just good practice, really, and maybe a reminder to keep a spare filter handy. And, you do see the occasional outlier review, like John D., who unfortunately reported nothing but issues, now ongoing for 4 months. It's rare, given the 4.9 stars, but it happens. Sometimes you just get unlucky with an individual unit, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Any other little quirks or design things people picked up on?
A couple of things from Clive C. He personally found it a little too shallow for his liking, and he felt the internal seat pads were a little pointless because sitting on them put him too high out of the water.
Ah, okay, so depth and seating might be a bit subjective.
Exactly. Depends on your height and what you prefer. He also mentioned a minor design thing, the little pocket for the remote control. He said it can easily fill with water when it rains.
Ah, yeah, I can see that happening. Easy fix, though. Just don't leave the remote in it when it's raining.
Pretty much. And then there's a general point, kind of prompted by Pamela M. She talked about a previous hot tub she'd owned. Not necessarily this brand getting holes. It's just a reminder that any hot tub needs a bit of care. Setting it up right, treating the water properly, being careful not to snag it. That stuff helps any tub last longer.
Good general advice.
Oh, and Mr. John R. made a small note about buying a separate inflatable lid liner. He found it helped support the main cover in heavy rain and maybe sped up heating a bit. So a little potential add-on to think about, maybe.
Okay, so let's try and pull all this together. Based on the features, the tech, what users are saying, both good and bad, who is this Wave Atlantic hot tub really for? who's the ideal buyer?
Right. Well, first off, I'd say it's clearly for the relaxation seeker, someone who really wants that hydrotherapy, that stress relief, but without the huge cost or hassle of a permanent spa. It seems to genuinely deliver that therapeutic soak.
Makes sense. Who else?
Definitely the space-conscious individual. We heard how well it works in smaller gardens or patios. Its portability and quick setup make it super flexible if you don't have a massive backyard.
Okay.
Also, the budget-savvy buyer. It's positioned as a cost-effective way into hot tub ownership, and crucially, those energy-saving features seem to really help keep the running costs down, according to users. That's a big deal.
Yeah, huge.
And then there's the DIY enthusiast. If you love a product that's genuinely inflate, fill, plug in with no need for professionals, this ticks that box perfectly. Instant gratification.
Right.
Because of that anti-freeze system, it's also a strong contender for year-round users. People who don't want to pack it away in October but want to enjoy it through the colder months too. It extends the value significantly.
Good point.
And finally, I'd say small groups or families. While it says 6-person, the reviews suggest it's really comfortable for 2 or 3, giving a nice deep soak. You can fit more, maybe up to 4 comfortably. 6 might be cozy, but it offers flexibility.
Okay, so it really does sound like the Wave Atlantic delivers on that promise of accessible luxury. It's this interesting mix of convenience, decent energy efficiency, and, proper hydrotherapy. That taste of luxury someone mentioned seems surprisingly achievable.
I think so. It feels like more than just another inflatable product. It seems like a genuine opportunity to sort of upgrade your home space into a personal retreat. Built pretty tough, designed to be easy. It really does bring that spa feeling home without all the usual drama.
Yeah, just imagine that feeling, sinking into warm, bubbling water under the stars after a long day, melting away the aches. Or just having, as Pamela M. put it, my own little luxury right there in the garden. And doing all that without the massive project you might have imagined, what could that kind of easy, year-round relaxation add to your daily routine? Makes you think, doesn't it? Well, if you are thinking about it, if you're intrigued and maybe ready to explore adding this kind of convenience and luxury to your life, you can find the Wave Atlantic 6-person inflatable hot tub. Learn more, check the latest prices. Just click the link you'll find in the description right below this deep
Hearts
dive.
beat to the city streets. We began to